Today we will be discussing the cryptographic method of securing information in blockchain transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zero-knowledge proofs were first proposed in 1989 by Goldwasser, Macaulay, and Rakoff as a method to verify the truth of a statement without revealing any of the secret information used as the basis for that verification. Since then, many ZKP protocols used in modern cryptography are based off the interactive protocol that Goldwasser et al. Developed. One common example of a zero-knowledge proof is three-coloring a graph. This is performed over multiple rounds as a prover makes statements to a verifier who either accepts or refutes the prover's statement. A full mathematical proof may be found in reference 2. While the original zero-knowledge proofs were based on an interactive model, they may be adapted to a non-interactive model. Non-interactive in this case has one party prove a fact to the other party rather than the two parties communicating back and forth. This allows the prover to build their messages before interacting with the verifier, and the verifier may confirm at a later time. The proofs used to secure blockchain transactions that we will discuss further in this presentation are all non-interactive ZKPs. The distributed ledger system known as blockchain was initially published by Satoshi Nakamoto in 2008 as a peer-to-peer exchange method for cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin. Blockchain's main appeal is that the transactions remain verifiable even outside of a centralized confirmation system. In its original incarnation, this required public transactions, which made blockchain inviolable for confidential uses. In order to maintain the decentralized verifiability of blockchain but protect the confidentiality of transactions, a cryptographic mechanism like ZKPs must be used. Adding the verification methodology into the transaction removes the necessity of a trusted third party, which would remove the decentralized advantage that blockchain holds. As zero-knowledge proofs are used to facilitate transactions between parties that do not trust each other and protect the parties' information from each other, they are the perfect candidate to be used in this situation. We will now move on to explain some prominent ZKPs currently used in blockchain transactions.
ZK-SNARK is a ZKP protocol coined in 2012 by Alessandro Chiesa and others. It gets its name from the unique characteristics it has. ZK-SNARK stands for and exhibits these properties: zero knowledge, succinct, non-interactive, and argument of knowledge. Zero knowledge, Audrey has explained previously. Succinct suggests that the size of the proof created using this protocol is very small and is able to be verified in a few milliseconds. Argument of knowledge denotes a system that is secure and computationally sound only for provers that have limited computational resources. This means that provers with enough computational power can convince verifier of a wrong statement. There are three key functions involved in the ZK-SNARK protocol. The first is a key generator function that takes in a secret parameter lambda. The second is a prover function. The last is a verifier function which outputs accept or reject if the proof is correct or not. There is a weakness to this protocol. Anyone who obtains the value of the private parameter lambda can generate a fake proof such that the verifier function will output accept. So it is crucial to ensure the security when generating the public keys. The first widespread use of ZK-SNARK was in the public blockchain Zcash. Unlike other blockchains, Zcash is able to prove the validity of transactions without revealing sensitive information such as the addresses of the sender or receiver. The function that determines whether a transaction is valid or not to the network's consensus rules must return valid or not valid without revealing any information about the calculations performed. This is done by transforming what you want to prove into an equivalent form. That is saying, I know a solution to a set of algebraic equations. The full transformation from consensus rules to equations is not presented here, but please refer to reference 12 for a detailed explanation. At the end of the transformation, the validation of transactions is about confirming whether two polynomials match at a randomly chosen point. The drawback to this is that if the prover finds out the point that the verifier will use to compare polynomials, the prover can craft invalid polynomials that still satisfy the comparison. Because of this, well-known mathematical techniques such as homomorphic encryption are used to compare polynomials.
One of the most widely used zero-knowledge proofs in cryptocurrency is ring-CT, or ring confidential transactions. In order for a cryptocurrency to be truly private, the amount of currency sent in a transaction must be hidden from everyone except the sender and receiver, while remaining publicly verifiable. In the Monero cryptocurrency, this requirement was satisfied using ring-CT. In order for a transaction to be valid, there are two requirements that must be proven. 1. the sum of the transaction inputs is equal to the sum of the transaction outputs, or no currency is created or destroyed. And 2, the transaction amount is positive, or money is going from the sender to receiver, not the other way around. RingCT implements a non-interactive ZKP such that a prover can prove these requirements to any verifier without revealing the transaction amount. The first requirement is simply proven with the use of Petersian commitments. In order to prove the second requirement, a separate proof must be used for each bit of the transaction amount, with this being repeated for each output. This meant that increasing the precision of the transaction amount or the number of outputs linearly increased the number of proofs required. While RingCT did provide better confidentiality for Monero, it also greatly increased the size of transactions. Specifically, a confidential transaction with 2 outputs and 32 bits of precision required 5.4 kilobytes total, of which the range proofs accounted for roughly 5 kilobytes. It was extremely common for the range proofs to account for more than 90% of the transaction size using RingCT, which not only made transactions more network intensive, but increased mining fees as well. To address this, Monero implemented bulletproofs in 2018. Bulletproofs made a major improvement on the size requirement of transaction range proofs. While RingCT proof size linearly increased with transaction precision and the number of outputs, bulletproofs only increased in size logarithmically. Due to this improvement, the average size of transactions decreased by more than 80%, hugely improving network costs as well as decreasing mining fees. These proofs are just a few of those in use today to secure blockchain transactions, as new methods to address the major drawback in zero-knowledge proofs for each transaction, that is, the processing power and speed required, are developed continuously to keep in pace with demand. Zero-knowledge proofs have been shown continuously that they are valid, effective methods of securing transactions, and as the use of blockchains grows through many industries, the use of ZKPs for these transactions will also grow.